Wits with the Tri-State's top high school students on the varsity sport of the mind, Ashland's High Q. Today, Mount Hope High School from Mount Hope, West Virginia meets Scioto Northwest High School from McDermott, Ohio. And here's your host for Ashland's High Q, Ernie Anderson.
Thank you, oh illustrious producer, Chuck Minsker. That blew his name. He's going to slap me and not pay me for doing this. Welcome to our 17th season of Ashland's High Q. We're in round one, and we got two good teams here. Let's see who will start to answer bunches of questions in round one. Good luck. 20-point bonus teams for this toss-up. It is formed by the intersection of Broadway and 7th Avenue between 42nd and 44th Streets in New York City. For 10 points, identify this celebrated square.
Scioto Northwest, Ron.
Times Square.
Times Square. Chance for 20. His name translates as Son of the Father, ironically paralleling a title used for Jesus Christ. For 20 points, name this minor, New Testament figure, a criminal released upon the demand of the crowd when Pilate proposed to release Jesus. Your answer.
Barabbas.
Barabbas is right for 20. A 20-point bonus for this toss-up. He boasts of having never read the Republicans' contract with America and may well be its most effective foe as the master of the arcane rules of the Senate. For 10 points, name this former Democratic leader and very senior senator from West Virginia.
Mount Hope, Chris.
Robert Byrd.
Robert Byrd, the West Virginia team gets that. A chance for 20 points now. These animals have been thought to be all passive filter feeders, but a truly carnivorous species that eats crustaceans was recently found in the Mediterranean. For 20 points in Mount Hope, name these light, porous, aquatic animals of the phylum Porifera. Your answer?
Starfish.
No, it's sponges. Oh, no points there. 25-point bonus for this toss-up. Longevity was a family tradition. He wasn't born until his father Enoch was 65 years old, and he himself didn't have any kids until he turned 187. He then lived another 782 years. For 10 points, name this oldest biblical.
Scioto Northwest, Guy.
Methuselah.
Methuselah figure, and a chance for 25 now on your bonus, Scioto Northwest. Proposals to eliminate U.S. farm subsidies would be bad news for Kansas, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Idaho, which get between 10% and 25% of all the money they send back to Washington, or they send to Washington, returned in such subsidies. For 5 points each, what other 5 states get back over 25% of their federal revenues in farm subsidies? Your answers? We guess some states.
Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma.
No. Iowa, Montana, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, so no points there. 20-point bonus for this toss-up. It began in 1810 to celebrate the marriage of the Prince of Bavaria and has continued to run for 2 weeks every autumn ever since. For 10 points, name this annual fest in Munich.
Mount Hope, Randy.
Oktoberfest.
It is, Randy, the Oktoberfest. A chance for 20. He began as the irascible working-class Londoner Alf Garnett in the BBC series Till Death Do Us Part. He was reworked and renamed for American audiences. For 10 points apiece, what loudmouth New Yorker on what hit TV show starring Carol O'Connor, Rob Reiner, and Sally Struthers? Would have been Archie Bunker from All in the Family. We didn't have time to get an answer out of that one. That ends our warm-up round. We'll be back here to finish round 2 when Ashland's High Q returns.
You'll never catch one of my kids falling asleep in class. It's impossible. You've got to make learning fun. Entice them to want to learn. So I add a little twist to whatever I do. It's all about achieving higher academic standards.
Mrs. DeVore believes higher academic standards spark enthusiasm. That's why Ashland honors her.
It's easier for me to learn something if I do it, and it's the same for my students. Just telling isn't science. We do science. Wait until they see what I have in store for them tomorrow.
Over the river and through the woods, to Pilgrim Glass we go. We'll find everywhere the things that we'll share when the season's all aglow. In all the cases and on the shelves, the treasures that will make all our friends, loved ones, and kin so happy for Christmas' sake.
We welcome you back here. Let's check the scoreboard after our warm-up round 1, and we'll find in a close one, Scioto Northwest leading Mount Hope 40-20. And now, as you are stuffed full of turkey from Thanksgiving, sitting back, relaxing, let's review the rules of the game, Ashland's High Q.
The game consists of 2 types of questions. Toss-ups are worth 10 points each, and bonuses are worth a stated number of points. On a toss-up, you must signal and be recognized before answering. A right answer earns your team 10 points and a bonus question. A wrong answer and the question goes to your opponent. You may interrupt a toss-up, but if you do, you must answer immediately. Interrupting with a wrong answer will cost your team 5 points, and the question is finished for your opponent. You have 3 seconds to answer a toss-up, 5 seconds on a bonus or part of a bonus. The game begins with a 3-minute warm-up round. That's followed by a 5-minute round and a final 8-minute round. If a round ends while a question is being asked, that's it. If you're answering a question when the round ends, you may complete the answer or part of an answer only. All questions are researched and authenticated by the staff of the College Bowl Company, Incorporated. All decisions of the moderator and judges are final.
All right, teams, there we go. That's how we play. It's 40-20, Scioto Northwest in the early round 1 lead. Let's begin round 2. Good luck. 20-point bonus for this toss-up. He predicted nuclear bombs in 1914, ICBMs in 1932, and a Second World War beginning on the...
Mount Hope, Randy.
Nostradamus.
Not him. 5-point penalty, Scioto Northwest. And a Second World War beginning on the German-Polish border in 1933 for 10 points. Who was this futurist, novelist, and author of War of the Worlds?
Scioto Northwest, Kristen.
H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells. Chance for 20. Head north along the Rio Grande and from Las Cruces, and you'll come to this other city, the site each October of the International Balloon Festival. For 20 points, identify this largest city in New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque is the correct answer for 20 points. 20-point bonus for this toss-up. 1995 was a big year for this prime number, as both the America's Cup and the Super Bowl reached this milestone. For 10 points, what's the number?
Scioto Northwest, Ron.
29.
29 is right, Ron. Chance for 20. These days, it seems unusual for a Major League ball player to spend more than a few years with one team. So it's remarkable to note that in his 23-year career, Hank Aaron played for only 2 teams. For 10 points apiece, name these 2 franchises.
Braves and the Brewers.
Correct for 20. 20-point bonus for this toss-up. After touring it in 1988, Nancy Reagan said she now understood what caused the Russian Revolution. For 10 points, identify this opulent St. Petersburg museum that shares its name with Andrew Jackson's Tennessee mansion. That's the Hermitage toss-up. Its name comes from the Greek for all meat, probably because it lacks bone and fat. For 10 points, name the second largest gland in the body whose failure can cause diabetes.
Scioto Northwest, Guy.
Pancreas.
It is the pancreas, Guy, and a chance for 20. Its 123-foot Art Deco spire was secretly assembled inside this skyscraper and hoisted atop it in 1930 to make it suddenly the tallest building on Earth. For 20 points, what building, named for an auto giant, held that record for just 1 year until the Empire State Building appeared?
Chrysler Building.
Chrysler Building is right for 20 points. I have a 25-point bonus question, teams, for this toss-up. He appeared in Hammer's Too Legit to Quit video and now has his own debut album, Prime Time.
Mount Hope, Randy.
Deion Sanders.
Deion, a chance for 25 now. In the late 1960s, Carl Sagan identified as a major problem in planetary science why only Saturn had rings. First, Mount Hope, for 5 points apiece, what other 3 planets have since been found to have rings?
Pluto, Mars, and Uranus.
Uranus is right. Neptune and Jupiter are the other 2. Saturn's uniquely spectacular rings have been found to be composed, for 10 points, primarily of what common compound? Answer?
Dust.
No, water. So you had Uranus for 5 points. 30-point bonus for this toss-up. Its Senate recently authorized a memorial for its 12,000 Vietnam vets, even though this NATO nation was not a participant in that war. For 10 points, name this nation that took in some 30,000 U.S. draft dodgers and deserters
Mount Hope, Jeremy.
Canada.
during the Vietnam War. That's right. Chance for 30 points now, Mount Hope. Name this U.S. president after 1 clue for 30, second clue 20, third clue 10. A former college math professor. He's published his own proof of the Pythagorean theorem.
Jefferson.
Not him. He defeated Winfield Hancock for the presidency, but survived less than a year in office.
Jackson.
No, he was assassinated in 1881.
Lincoln.
Answer? He was some kind of cat. Garfield. No points there. 30-point bonus for this toss-up. It moves upward at first, then arches dorsally and proceeds to run downward just in front of the vertebral column and through the diaphragm for 10 points.
Scioto Northwest, Guy.
The aorta.
That's the largest human artery, and a chance for 30. With an average age of just over 60, the current U.S. Supreme Court is the second youngest of the 20th century. For 15 points apiece, what Bush appointee is the youngest justice?
Clarence Thomas.
Yes, Clarence Thomas is right. What Ford appointee is the oldest? Answer? John Paul Stevens. You had Clarence Thomas for 15. 30-point bonus for this toss-up. Of its 1,500, yeah, we'll save that. We'll tuck that one away. We'll use it in the second half. That ends a good first half. We'll validate the score and be back to find out about our young men and women when Ashland's High School. Hiya, how are you? We're just talking about schools here. And speaking of schools, we got two fine ones here today. Let's check the scoreboard. After 2 rounds of play, we find Scioto Northwest leads 155 to 140 over Mount Hope. We've got another 8 minutes worth of questions, team, before we find out the victor in this first round game. Let's go to each of our team members. We're going to start with Scioto Northwest and Kristen, and we'll find out as the only lady in the house today, except Stephanie, our camera person. Well, there's some ladies back here behind the camera, which you can't see. Kristen, who are you, and what sort of things interest you?
I'm Chris Willoughby, and I'm interested in biology. I'm on, of course, the quiz bowl team, which is who you see here. I'm also on the Envirothon team, and I'm in the Hope Club.
What do you do on the what was it?
It's a challenge where there are 5 areas in southern Ohio, and the areas consist of certain groups of schools, and you go places, and there are categories such as soils, wildlife, forestry, and environmental issues.
Very good. Vice President Gore would be very happy with your caring of the environment. That's good. We all should be. Thank you, Kristen. Guy, let's talk to you.
My name is Guy Johnson. I'm a senior at Northwest High School. I'm a member of the Marching Mohawks and also a member of the quiz bowl team.
Well, what do you play in the Marching Mohawk Band?
I play the drums.
The drums. I guess you just beat that thing silly, don't you? All right. You a good drummer?
Mm.
Do you have a drummer of note that you enjoy, that you watch, that you emulate, that you hope to become one day?
No, not really.
Ron, team captain, is pointing to himself. You can't see that, though. So either Ron is a drummer in the band or he just likes to pound things here. I don't know. Let's talk to Ron. Let's find out now from Ron himself, team captain, Scioto Northwest. Ron, who are you? What do you do?
My name's Ron Monovan. I'm a senior at Northwest. I'm also a member of the Marching Mohawks, and I play bass drum. My interests include history and geography, mathematics.
What does Ron hope to become one day?
I'm going to become a sports broadcaster.
Oh, very good. You know, just about anybody can get a sports broadcasting job these days. Anybody can get a talk show and a sports broadcast. Just become an old washed-up athlete, and you'll be a sports broadcaster. There you go. Ron, tell us about Scioto Northwest, where it is in the great state of Ohio.